Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. So if you aren't aware by now, the Banquet event is just around the corner. It starts on December 19th, which is about 2 weeks and change from today. The Banquet is probably the biggest event on the MCOC calendar every year in terms of unit and cash spending. You open a lot of these Banquet crystals, you get a lot of really cool rewards, and it's just a lot of fun to just open oodles of these crystals. Now in the past, Kabam has used the Banquet to introduce new ranks for the current rarity of champion for the highest spenders in the game, in the event. And I think a lot of people in the community, myself included, are kind of working under the assumption, at least for the moment, that we are going to be seeing the very first rank 5 7-star champions as of this Banquet event. Rank 4s are becoming much more common among endgame players. If you spent even a little bit on the Cyber Weekend sales, you've got multiple rank 4 champions. So it feels like a good opportunity for Kabam to add the next chase item, the next chase rank, if you will, for the highest spenders in the game. Now, I do think that these rank 5s will be very few, very rare, probably limited to the ranked rewards for the highest spending alliances. Maybe the top 3 alliances would get a rank 5, so we're talking 90 people in total, and maybe another handful of individuals in the solo events. So I do think they are going to be pretty rare. But, kind of thinking about all this had me considering my roster and who I would rank up to rank 5 if given the opportunity, because we don't know how it's going to work. We don't know if they're going to get just the rank up materials, the catalyst, or if they're going to be given a class gem, crystal, or if they're going to be given a generic gem. So I wanted to kind of spend a few moments today kind of looking through my roster. We'll go class by class here, and I want to pick out one champion from each class that I would take to rank 5. Let's do it. All right, we're going to start off today with the class that I think is going to be the most difficult for me to choose a rank 5 option from, and that is the Mutant class here. And I think it's the most difficult option for me because there isn't really one champ in the Mutant class that I really love or really have kind of taken as this is my kind of champ. And I think for the vast majority of people, I've got the rank 4 Onslaught sitting there, and I think for probably 99% of players who are out there who own Onslaught, you're going to rank up Onslaught to rank 5 because he is a dominant champion, two-way champion, just so strong on attack and defense in pretty much every game mode in the game. And I could not, disagree with anybody who chooses to take him up for sure. But for me, I don't necessarily want to do it just because everybody else is ranking him up. There are other champions in this list that I really like. I like Dust a lot. I don't use her too much. I really like Negasonic, and she just slaughters everybody in the skill class, pretty much except for Yelena. Cassandra is a champion that I took up specifically to kind of get better with her, but beyond the 4 of them, again, there's not really a champion here that I really love. I like Danny a lot. I like Jean a lot. I like Storm a lot, but, she's kind of a very niche, fun champion, right? Sinister is very good. Another popular rank-up choice, I'm sure. But, there isn't really, another mutant in this list who kind of speaks to me as, this is the one you should have at rank 5. Now, I do want to point out a couple of other options who aren't technically in the game yet. So we're going to swap over to Firefox here. And the first one is Toad. Toad is getting a rebalance, I think, in January of 2026. And I don't know that he has been announced as getting a 7-star version at that time. I'm assuming that he will be a 7-star at some point after this rebalance, whether it be in the March Titan pool or a double track event or something like that. But at some point, probably sooner than later in 2026, I expect to see 7-star Toad in the game. Toad is a champion that I really, really like. He is just so fun to use. He's so easy to use. He's good in a variety of situations. You don't need the poison to stick because he punishes poison immunity. If I got my hands on a 7-star Toad, it would be very difficult, I think, for me not to take him up all the way to rank 5 if I was forced to choose a mutant option. The other one that I wanted to talk about briefly is X23. Now, we know that X23 is getting a buff. We voted on that buff way back in March for International Women's Day. It's been 9 months now. We don't know when that buff is coming to the game. I have predicted that she is going to be the mutant representative in the Banquet champ pool, but that has not been announced yet, so I don't know if I'm right or if she's going to be like a double track champion in next year, or how she's going to enter the contest as a 7-star. But we know that she probably is going to be a 7-star before long. I think if I had to choose between the two, I would probably lean Toad, but I would have to see kind of her kit before I would make a decision on her, whereas Toad's kit is kind of a known quantity for me, right? But another interesting option as well, X23 as a character, forgetting the champion for a moment, is a character that I really, really do enjoy. So it would be fun to have her at rank 5, provided the buff is good and worth ranking up. So, but if I think if you held a gun to my head right now, I would probably, I couldn't pick Toad right now because he's not in the game. I would probably just kind of, I don't know. I'd probably kind of if it had to be somebody on my roster, I might seriously lean towards Negasonic, just because I have so much fun playing her. But if I could choose any mutant, it would probably end up being Toad. Yeah, I don't know. I would probably agonize over the mutant decision for days before I would make a choice. But the other classes hopefully should be a lot easier. All right, moving on to the skill class, which should hopefully be a little less difficult to choose from than the mutant class. A lot of very strong options in this class, and a lot of champions that I really do enjoy playing. Looking over just these first couple rows here, I see 3, maybe 4 champions that I would seriously consider taking up to my first rank 5. Black Cat is a champion that I really enjoy playing. Mole Man is phenomenal in the game modes that I prefer. There's an argument for maybe Zemo or Black Panther, but I think that if I had to choose right now a skill champion to go to rank 5, it would have to be Chilth here. Chilth is a champion that I just took to rank 4 less than a week ago, and honestly she was way overdue for that rank up. Chilth is a champion who I feel like I look for reasons to use in every game mode. If she is even halfway decent for a Battlegrounds meta, she will absolutely be in my deck. I love using her in a variety of situations. She has phenomenal damage with those bleeds once they get ramped up. She has really great utility as well. If you play her correctly, she can effectively become debuff immune because she has access to so many cleanses throughout the fight. She has that grit passive on her special 1, so if you need an unstoppable counter but can't use a buff or a debuff, she is great for that. She caps block damage, which is really great in war for all these defenders that have ways of increasing their attack rating. Just a really, really great champion, and most importantly, I think she's fun to use. And I think for me, that is probably the most important quality that I'm looking for in these champions. And I don't think that there is a champion in the skill class that I enjoy playing quite as much as I enjoy playing Chilth. Maybe Black Cat is probably the only one who comes close to her, but yeah, Chilth is so good. I would be extremely happy to have her as my first rank 5. I would have zero regrets about taking her up. All right, moving on to the Mystic class, which is, again, a little tricky for me to choose from, but in a different way than the Mutant class. With the Mutant class, there wasn't really one champion that I really loved. In the Mystic class, there are several champions that I really love, and it would be difficult for me to choose between them. I think it kind of comes down to 2 champions in this class for me. I really like, Paviter, but I don't feel like I'm good enough with him yet to commit to the rank 5, but he would be a phenomenal choice for anybody who really likes that champion. Similarly with Kushala, another champion who is extremely powerful. I don't really feel like I am amazing with Kushala, and I don't get to use her that often. We have a bunch of very talented Kushala players in my battle group, so all the Kushala fights go to them. Plus, we have Kushala's designer in the battle group too, so hard to match up with him, right? So for me, it comes down to Isophene and Nika Minoru, who are both champions that I really, really love to use. And I think if I was leaning one way over the other, it would probably be Nico. Nico, I think, is probably the best Mystic champion in the game right now. But as I said a moment ago, that's really not what is most important to me. Nico is a champion that when I tested her out on the CCP beta before she was released, she was a champion that I kind of clicked with right away. Her rotation, her play style, it felt easy to me. It came easy to me. She, dog walks pretty much the entire Cosmic class. And I think that they will probably have to design, Cosmics who stop her, which is fine. Yeah, I love using her. Her rotation is very fluid to me. It all just kind of makes sense. It's kind of, I'm struggling to kind of describe, how playing this champion feels to me. But I feel like I just kind of know 2 or 3 moves in advance what I want to do with her when I play with her. There are a lot of really strong Mystic options, and I wouldn't argue with a lot of them. But for me, I think Nico, again, best Mystic champion. It would be tough for me to kind of not rank Isophine. Isophine is a champion that I feel like I have really kind of, no pun intended, championed. I think Isophine is probably the best nullified champion in the game. She is so reliable for me. I take Dark Phoenixes with her. I take Serpents with her all the time. This past season, 2 seasons, she was Tactic, so I was taking Thanos in Alliance War with her. Just so strong. And, I feel like she's so underrated. She's never banned in Battlegrounds ever. So, people ban, my Kushala. People are banning my Paviter Prabarkar. But nobody bans Isophine, and then they draft Serpent or Dark Phoenix, and they expect me to struggle finding an option for them, and Isophine just crushes them. So, yeah, it would be tough for me to kind of pass on her. But for me, I think Nico is, just as fun, if not more fun to use, and also probably a bit more, all around more powerful. So, Mystic rank 5, if given the option, it would be Nico Minoru. I did want to mention another Mystic champion that isn't yet in the game, but we know is coming to the game, and that is Absorbing Man, who is going to be released in the Banquet event in that Founders Keepers box. Absorbing Man is an incredibly fun champion to use here. You're kind of seeing the pattern develop here, right? And similarly to Nico, he is a champion that I kind of clicked with right away when I tested him for the very first time. My Absorbing Man champion guide remains one of my most viewed guides on the channel. So I think that he has clicked with a lot of other people as well. He counters so much. He has so much utility. When I get 7-star Absorbing Man, I have the materials right away to rank him up to rank 4. And the only thing that I think would be stopping me from picking him as the first Mystic rank 5 is that I honestly feel like it would be overkill. I feel like as a rank 4, he is going to be incredibly powerful, and anything that you need him to do at a rank 5, he could do, and then some at a rank 4. So yeah, I feel like he's going to be extremely strong. Probably not necessary to have him at rank 5 right away, but it would be. I feel like when I get him and I play him, I'm going to be like, oh, this guy is so good. I remember why I loved him, and I would definitely rank him up. But yeah, I feel like in terms of broad utility, I feel like the answer is still Nico. Now, you've probably heard me say a bunch of times that when it comes to the Cosmic class, there are probably a dozen champions that I could rank up to rank 4 and be happy with. And the same is true for consideration as to a first rank 5. There are most of the champions in these first 2 rows, and even some peeking out there in the 3rd row there, are champions that I would be very, very happy to see at rank 5. But, in this video, you can only pick one. And I think for fun factor, it probably comes down to 3 champions that I really have the most fun using. And one in particular, I feel like I use more frequently than the rest. And that is Serpent here. Serpent is a champion that, I don't really feel like I need to talk about in too much detail. We all know how painful he is on defense. He's arguably the most painful defender that's ever been added to the game, and I don't really want to, rehash that. But for me, this list is mostly focused on offense, and in the Cosmic class, there are very few champions that I have as much fun using on attack than Serpent. There are many times where I will draft him in Battlegrounds, with intent to use him on attack. And my opponent will draft a counter for him, and it ends up just being like a wasted draft spot for them because I'll use him on attack, and then they won't have, they'll have a decent Serpent option that's not really good for other fights. So, similar to Chioth, who I talked about a minute ago, I find myself using Serpent kind of like wherever I can, just because I really love his rotation. I really love like nailing that hesitate after your combo so that you can get the unblockable specials through their block. Just really, really fun. He's good for, every level of health pool. Used him in BGs, as I said. Used him for that Necropolis run a while ago. And I think he is a champion that, offensively speaking, is really going to have a lot of staying power in this game. I think we'll be seeing him used as an attacker for quite a while here. Just a really great champion. There are others that kind of come close to me in terms of the fun factor. Scream is another champion that I really enjoy playing. One of the absolute coolest looking champions that has ever been added to MCOC. Just like this screen right here is just amazing. I love using Scream. She is so strong. Other champions in this list that deserve honorable mentions. Phoenix, a champion I just ranked up the other day. Carolina, Thanos, Deathless King Groot, Medusa. These are all just like really, really good champions. But for me, I think none of them really come close to Serpent. Although if you named pretty much any of like a dozen champions in this list and said that's my first rank 5, I would be like, that's a great choice. But yeah, for me, Serpent for the Cosmic rank 5. All right, moving on to the two classes that should be the least surprising for anybody who has watched my channel for any length of time. We'll start with the Science class. And, there are a lot of very good options in the Science class that I would be happy to take up to rank 5 eventually. But if I were forced to take up a champion to rank 5 that is from this Science class, the only choice that I would have zero hesitation in making would be my favorite champion in the game, Void. Void has been my favorite champion for years now. I don't remember how long it's been since I kind of fell in love with this champion, but just phenomenal two-way champion. And again, I look for reasons to use him. I probably use him in situations where I shouldn't, or it's not advisable to use him in. But for me, he is kind of the one champion that I have always felt comfortable, testing the limits of. I've done a buttload of Void content on the channel, taking out like every boss in Act 6 with him, doing ridiculous Abyss runs with him back when he was a 6-star. Yeah, just, I don't know what else I can say. I've talked about him probably more than any other champion on this channel. My favorite champ in the game. There would be no hesitation at all. I would get the Science Gem, and I would, within 5 seconds, click over to the champion screen and rank him up right away. I wouldn't even have to think about it. So a lot of other good options here, but those would be fine for my second Science rank 5. But as for my first, there's just no other choice. Last but certainly not least, we come to probably my favorite overall class in the game, and that is the Tech class. Just an absolute mountain of utility. I've often said on streams and such that every champ in this game has damage. Utility is really where kind of the game is played, for me anyways, and the Tech class I think has more utility than any other class. Now there are a lot of champions in the Tech class that I look at and I say I absolutely love this champion. Omega Sentinel, Viv, Guillotine is a classic in this class, but none of them really compare to Ironheart here, who is a champion that I was all in on from day one. The moment I tested her on the CCP beta, I was like, I love this champion. I love everything about her. Animations, the kit is great. And even though Void is my favorite champion in the game, there is no champion in the game that I use more right now than Ironheart. I think I have used her in every single war for like the past several seasons. Not the big thing season, but like the main regular war seasons. I think she is always on my team because I'll load up the war map when I start to plan for a battle group, and I'll just pick out like as many Ironheart fights as I can force her to do. and she handles everything. Ironheart is a champion that I have really promoted and advocated using since she was released into the game. Even before she got that bug fix where it gave her like a sizable damage increase, I was using her, like whenever possible. Like, I remember I brought her onto one of my Necropolis paths because I thought she'd be great for a couple of fights, and she had the reverse control immunity. It's just, right now I don't think there's any champion in the game that I have more fun using, and that says a lot about her in particular because I use her so much, and I still enjoy using her as much as I did when I started playing her initially. So similar to Void, if I got a tech gem, tech rank 5 gem, there would be absolutely no hesitation here. It would go immediately to Ironheart. If I had to pick any of these 6 classes to get a gem for, it would probably be tech. And again, because although Void is my favorite champion, I don't use him as much as I use Ironheart. The enjoyment factor, the utility, the damage, and the frequency of use, all of those scores kind of combined, no champion touches Ironheart for me right now. I would be overwhelmed with excitement if I were able to rank her up as my first rank 5. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this one. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the choices that I made for all of my potential first rank 5s. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are some of them crazy? Are some of them too meta rat for you? Either way, I would love to hear from you. Make sure that you add your choices for each of the 6 classes who you would take up to rank 5 first if given the opportunity. I always enjoy kind of seeing what other people's thought processes are when it comes to ranking up champions, because I like seeing people who pick different champions than me. That's what makes this game so great. So if you could please do me a quick favor, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take a brief moment, hit that subscribe button for me, press a like to help grow the channel, and as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.